Welcome back to Milano Nation. Matt and Mike here. Today's topic, myths about college.
We're going to expose the myths of college with a special guest on our show. So let's bring it on in, Mike.
Let's get going.
Millennial Nation.
Thank you for tuning back in to Millennial Nation. Today's show, we have a guest, Ronnie Brown, and he has 3 degrees, one of which is in film production, public relations, and a culinary degree.
And certifications down the road.
Many certifications on top of that. He went to college for 6 years. So we're going to get a lot of good information from him. And if you stay tuned, you're going to learn about all the finances, the ins and outs of how they push college on you from high school, dealing with the counselors, and basically everything that goes along with it. So without further ado, the first question is process on entering college.
The process of entering college. All right. Well, it all starts, and for some of you all probably know, it's your junior year and your senior year in high school when they start giving you the brochures of every college known to man, and then they start taking you out on these field trips to, explore these campuses, make you feel like, feel the college experience and everything. And then, if you still become undecided, then that's when the counselor comes in and starts taking her office, looks at your file and says, you have a niche to do this. Why don't you go to this college and do that? But, as a young person, you don't know what you want to do in life. But then, like I said, adult will, take their guiding hand and they'll just push you to a college because they beating your brain from those 2 years. You gotta go to college. You gotta go to college. You want a job, you gotta go to college. And then, like you say, you're like, I gotta go to college. And then you end up trying to, fill out the forms. And then you have to fill out the FAFSA forms if you're from a low income family like myself. And then you hopefully get a scholarship or two. And then, let's see, what else? There's more.
Well, that's one of the myths right there, which
right.
is, pushing these counselors push you into going to college when it's not a necessity. And we talked about it on previous shows where there's so many more people with college degrees than there are jobs out on the market. Mm-hmm. So right now it's actually not, it's actually worse for someone to go out and get a degree than it is for someone to jump right into their career or into the workplace and start their career at a younger age instead of not wasting, but let's just say not utilizing their time from 18 years old till 24 in the best way possible.
Right. Yeah, well, it just matters on what your degree is in. Some jobs you have to have it. So if you need to be a doctor, an engineer, of course you need to go to school for it. But for some things, like you said, some of them you get jobs and you go to a job and you thought you need a certification or a degree, and you really don't even need that shit. Mm-hmm. Then you're like, damn, so I spent $1,000 for certification.
Right, and
I
also,
don't even need.
And also another thing about like high schools, they do not tell you that there are programs out there that will, train you, give you the basic skills you need for a certain job you're interested in. And there's conventions out there, that will teach some of the stuff that colleges will charge you like $300 a pop for when you just pay a ticket to go to these conventions and get like 30-40 minutes of a seminar one-on-one with the person, and you learn a lot more. You won't get a certification, but sometimes jobs will look at the skill more than a piece of paper. I've seen that a lot.
Yeah, I've noticed that too with the jobs that I've been at. They're more willing, as long as you have a good attitude and a good perspective of the company, they're more willing to just give you the skills and the training to get you into that next level or to the next promotion than it is to have that certification or to go to school for that 2 years to get the degree that you need.
And to top on that too, it brings me back to, like I said, it's like it's not what you know, it's really like who you know and the opportunity. That's how I've seen it in my working career, is who you know and the opportunities. I mean, I'm not saying just because someone knows you, they're just going to say, "Oh, I want you to be vice president of my company." No, but they know you. They know the ethics, your work ethics, so they'll like up taking you in. But then when they see that you're like, "Wow, this is a value employee," they're going to start raising you up the ladder.
Yeah.
And then if they feel that you need a degree, some of them will invest in your education where you won't have to worry about student loans because they will pay for you because they know you're loyal. You'll work hard for them, and they know when you graduate, you probably continue to work for the company.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I mean, I knew somebody that's at McCormick. They worked for Spice Company McCormick. That they've been there for. He's an older guy, or probably mid-50s. He's been there, I think, about 25 years. And they told him that they have a job. They just created a job above him, but they said they want him to have the job. But corporate says you have to have a degree, any type of degree. Doesn't matter what the hell it is. I'm not sure what he's getting his degree in. I think he just finished up. So he had to go to school to work for Verizon. You have to have a degree. It don't matter what your degree is in. It could be culinary, and you can get a job working for Verizon, wireless, or one of their stores. You know, some jobs you just have to have so they know you are smarter than the average
bear.
person. Yes. So which makes sense, and I get that. It's a great idea.
But are they investing in that person? Like, are they helping them pay for college? Or are they?
Oh no. Well, you can't even apply if you don't have a degree. You can't apply for Verizon. So to work in there, you
Know
have
about
to
the
already have.
McCormick job though.
Oh, McCormick, when they're paying for it. So
I'll
yeah,
say-
they say you go to school, and as long as you pass it, we give you it's reimbursement.
Right.
We give you the money back. But I mean, he's been there for 25 years. So it's somebody they said, this is your new job. Either you take it or pretty much your ass is out. That's what they pretty much told him.
Yeah, I understand that to a certain degree, where if getting higher education in maybe a general studies or something
Yeah.
like
Right.
that, just so you get better vocabulary, you know how to explain things better, your
But
writing
like
gets better.
But
Yeah.
they have seminars for that at
Yeah.
libraries and other learning centers too. You don't have to pay a lot of money for that. I mean, they have writing classes at the library, Baltimore County Library and all, and I go there just to buff up on my script writing, for free.
Right, yeah, exactly. Well, Mike and I talked about, he found, a church that has the freelancing, I guess, for talking.
Yeah.
Basically, you just go up, you walk up to the,
Toastmasters.
you walk up to the
Toastmasters,
podium.
But that's where
Yeah.
they're stationed at. Sorry.
Yeah, you walk up to the podium and you just start talking about any topic with a group of people sitting in front of you. And it helps out with a lot of if you're given
Public speaking.
public speaking, or just trying to become like doing the podcast or
Right.
doing anything, or
Makes you
being
feel
in front of the camera.
right. Gives you good practice and confidence to be comfortable in either front of a camera, millions of people looking at
Right.
you, or on stage.
Yeah, you don't need a piece of paper telling you.
Right, and you don't need to pay $300 a pop.
Well, and just because you have that degree doesn't mean you know shit about it. I know
Uh,
plenty of people that come out of business degrees, and I can tell you right now,
No,
they're
I
stupid as
I
shit.
agree. I agree.
And
Shoot, I know doctors that don't.
that's scary.
Yeah. So when you went into your first year of college, and I guess you're trying to pick out a career path, and you're picking, whether you should, you have the film production, should you do film production, or should you do this?
Well-
What were the counselors trying to advise you to do? Were they trying to advise you to do that? Did they listen to you, what you wanted to do, or did they just push you into certain directions that you didn't really need to go into?
Well, you're my cousin, so you should know. I always loved wanted to make films. We made plays together, so I knew I wanted to learn about film production and make films. So I knew what I wanted to do. But I know a lot of other people who didn't know what they wanted to do in life. But from my experience, when I told them what I wanted to do, they didn't really, surprisingly, didn't have any options for me. They're like, "Oh, we don't know any films." So I had to do my own research. So I searched because I was going to go to California, and they're telling me, well, we don't have dorms here, so you're going to have to buy a house and a car, and it's like $60,000 a semester, and I'm just like,
Yeah, see you later.
yeah. And so I tried to find somewhere local, and Towson University had a good film program, so I signed up with that and all. But to get there, like the guidance counselor wise, I didn't really have much guidance in high school when it came to that. They just pushed, like I said, they were the ones just saying you have to go to college, you have to go to college.
Yeah, it didn't matter what it was.
Right. But guidance counselors in college, they're a little different. I mean, they'll hold your hand and they'll just tell you what you need to do to graduate.
Yeah.
Like, you need to take these classes. Because if you don't take these classes to get these credits, you don't graduate. And then that's where I find that's a lot of BS. Because to me, it's like you're wasting your time on classes you have to take just so you get the credits to graduate instead of focusing on your core major.
Mm-hmm.
But at Towson University, when I went there, and this was in 2003, they had this, I'm not sure if it still exists, if they're doing this, but they said since they had a high volume of students, they had a selection program. So, for example, I want to be in the film major. So they're only taking certain kids in a certain semester to go into the major so you can start taking your major courses. In order to do that, you have to take these certain classes and pass them. And I found this a little unfair because if I got a B, I passed the class, but the person who was ahead of me had an A. They'll take the person with the A and start taking it, and then I'm out in the dark for a bit. So it kind of prolongs your graduation plans and all. But thank God I got into the program. But it takes a long time for you to get into your major at Towson. I'm not sure if other colleges adopt that type of structure, but at Towson, for all the majors, you had to pass certain classes in order to get into your major.
Yeah, they have a
pre-rep.
points-based.
Well, not just pre-rep, but certain classes that relate to the major itself that you have to pass.
Yeah.
And all. And like I said, that just seemed like it was a waste of time. You're just in a waiting room. You're like, I want to learn.
Yeah, yeah. I know they do that with nursing, where they, you have chemistry and you have your other classes that you get points based. So you get an A, you get 3 points. If you get a B, you get 2 points. You get a C, you get 1 point. And that all is collective over probably 10 classes, and you get points for each one. And whoever is in the top, however open spots they have, if there are 50 open spots, whoever's the top 50 people with the most points, then they take those people in.
Right.
So you guys agree with that, or you don't agree with that?
Well, for me, with the way they had it structured at Towson at that time, to me it just seemed like it was a little unfair because, like I said, if I had a B, which was passing grade, but a person in front of me had an A, that means I gotta wait longer. And it's I have a plan to graduate at this time frame. So if they did not pick me, but I got picked, but it just prolonged my graduation plan. So.
Yeah, I guess if you look at it from the other direction, because I think based on merit is a good idea. But if you look at it in the other direction where they say, well, let's just pick random people, then you say, well, what about the person who worked hard to get an A?
Right.
Are they left behind? You know what I mean? So, but to have it structured let's just say you don't even do the points. You say, look, if you want to get in, this is the classes that you're going for. This is what you need to focus on are these classes, and you just start. And then if you fail, you got to retake the class, or if you don't, and then when you're already based on your GPA from the places that are hiring you, so when you get in your first big job and you turn in your resume or you have your GPAs right on there, so they already base it on how good your grades were, and so are colleges, but should they really tell you can't advance, even though you pass, you can't advance anymore?
Well, it's limited. I mean, it makes sense. You're limiting the spaces. Yeah. So I mean, it makes sense. Yeah, 50 spots. We'll say for Towson for this semester, and that's where it is. So that I can understand you take the best out of that 50, but that's just, it's like taking somebody, that went to Harvard, or somebody that went to a community college. Which one are you going to take? The person that got to Harvard. I understand the way it works. I'm not saying it's the best true selection because you get the Harvard guy, and just because you got an A, when you get in the real world, you're not hitting a test.
Right.
At IBM,
right.
you're hitting real work.
Right.
Now it's time to get your shit done. Oh man, I don't know. A, B, C, or D. I don't see this.
Yeah, because the Harvard graduate could have just cruised through Harvard.
Yeah.
And the community college person might have worked his ass off.
Mm-hmm.
But that's my point, because everyone has, different, I guess, testing abilities. They test differently. So, the way I found it was unfair to structure, the person may be great at the skill of filmmaking or whatever the course they're taking, but they probably didn't do well on tests, you know. And the person who got an A, you know, they probably got an A because they base all your points on exams,
Right.
like every college. So when that person proceeds on to the, you know, the actual major and start taking the courses, they might suck, you know, and then, well, they're like, well, oh well, just
Yeah.
keep moving.
Yeah. Go back to college if you can. Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, well, I want to tell about advisors because we're about to leave that point. But when I was doing advisors, like, I wanted a degree in business or economics. I like both areas, but I wanted one. When I went there, I told them, hey, I have an interest in doing these 2 degrees at some point. They really didn't seem, like you said, they were interested in showing you how to graduate.
Right.
But to me, I felt like it was just, here's another number. I'm not sure to tell you what classes you need for right now. Like, which one do you want first? I was like, I want business first. So, like, they had no interest in helping me on economics, even though I wanted to take kind of both at the same time. They didn't really give a shit.
Oh,
Yeah,
they
you know what I'm
didn't have like a structure where you can double dip.
No, at Harvard, I was there, like I said, I probably did like 1 class or 2 classes a semester.
Oh.
It wasn't like I was still working 50 hours a week, so I just did whenever I had time, the class fit in my schedule,
okay.
I did it. But like you said, they had no interest. I was just another number. Azure pisses me off.
Yeah.
Well,
They're just trying to sell you. They're trying to sell you a class for a piece of paper. That's all these advisors do. They say,
Right.
"Well, we want you to take this class, so you can pay this money, and you can get this piece of paper at the end of the day."
right, and also, like, when you're applying for colleges, you're going to be talking to a person who, like, talks about the campus and talks about their, you know, numbers of who are successful just because they went there.
Right.
You know, like you said, it's just numbers.
Right.
Just numbers.
So we went through the college experience on, you know, what classes, degrees, and stuff like that. What should someone do, I guess, after college? Like, what is it getting a job after college?
Well, my advice is not just after college. Work while you're in college, because if you spend all your time just studying and just going to classes and just cruising through college, you're not gaining experience, and that's what they're looking for. You can wave that paper all you want, saying, "But I went to college." They don't care. They have dimes of dozens of college graduates. So my advice is if you're going into a major in a particular field, try to see if there's an internship that pays, and see if you know, you get your experience from that. Or if you're lucky, God bless you, you know, you find a place that will willing to hire you part-time so you can go to college and just gain the experience there. But my best advice to you is work while you're in college, and try to find the most relevant one to your major.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when a job is looking for someone to hire, whether you're an entry level or whatever it is, if they see that you have experience already, it's kind of like a shoo-in. You know, I
Right.
talked to you know, my fiance. She wants to become a nurse. Well, she has 4 years experience working as a medical assistant, so it's going to be a lot more likely for her to be the first one on the list when it comes to
Right.
entry level, because she's worked in the field for a few years already, where she'll be, even though she might not have the best grades, or she might not, let's just say, have the highest GPA out of everybody.
But she has the
But
knowledge and the skills.
She has the skills. She doesn't need the training or the let's just say the holding of the hand for the
Right.
first 6 months into the job.
Yeah, it's just, she's been in that environment before. So it's like when you work out as a kid, you work out in high school, you start working out when you graduate high school, but then you get fat. Then you start working out again because you're like, damn, I need to take care of myself. Muscle memory. You just learn it so much quicker the second time around.
Yeah,
So
that is true. And I guess the last thing, what would you advise someone to do who wants to go to college, but how are they going to do it right? What is the correct way for someone to say, I'm going to go from high school into college, pick a career, and either get that or whatever it is? What's the best way to go about all that?
Okay. Well, from what I know now, and if I could go back in time, I would do this. If you're in high school now and you know what you want to do, try to look into it now. Like, go when summertime comes, you have nothing to do except laying around or swimming pools. Go try to find something that you want to do and try to get experience in it, because they will count that as experience. And then, and then by the time your senior year comes and you're getting close to college, then you think to yourself, should I go to college or should I continue working? I would choose continue working so you can build more experience, and then down the road, if you need a degree, if you need one to get up that ladder, then go and see if the company that you're working for, or if you're successful at that time, just pay for it yourself, or have them pay for it,
Right.
Because student loans, it's terrible.
Yeah, we talked about this on a show before, where the reason that college is so expensive now is because the federal government's given out loans to anybody. They can say, well, I'm going to go get a degree in teaching, and I want to go to the best university in the state. Well, that best university costs $45,000 a semester. So they're still giving out a loan to someone who's going to be making $40,000 to $50,000 a year,
if that.
And if that. But they're still giving these loans out without considering how much someone's going to make after they're done to repay it.
Well, the thing is, I think they do know. It's because they know that the laws are protecting them, so they know that the person cannot default on them or declare bankruptcy. So they know the consequences. They just want to make money off you.
Yeah.
And the interest rate is ridiculous. Ridiculous. I mean, I have friends that went to college and they're paying a mortgage payment for their student loans. It's a lot of money, and it's ridiculous.
Yeah, but are they making
terms?
Right? Yeah, it's the terms
People
of
just
what they
don't-
give people.
People don't read. It's the banks, yes, they're trying to get you, but it's also the dumbasses. Sorry, and I'm included in it. That say, okay, I'll take a 20-year loan for $21,000 because part of it's federal, part of it's PNC, as you being another word. So for $21,000, I'll pay for the next 20 years, $225 and change a month. Like, now I look at it and I'm like, that's fucking stupid. I could have paid $300 a month for 5 years with the same amount of money and did a quarter of the time. Now, if people don't read, they don't do the real numbers count. It just
but that's
it's part of it's the bank's fault, but it's also us dumbasses that still sign the loan.
And which brings me back to preparing for college. When you're young and you're looking at these FAFSA forms, you're filling them out yourself, and parents who never went to college like mine never went to college. They didn't know what this stuff was. They're just like, well, we just want you to go to college and make success. So they just sign the paper and go. But you don't read the fine print, and when you're young, you're just like, you don't know what these words mean. You don't know what rates are, and that's when you sign that paper, you pretty much signed your life away, pretty much.
Yeah, because you can't turn it around now. It's
you
your
can't
contract.
because it's stamped. The only way to get out, and I'll tell you, if you guys read the fine print, because I started reading the fine print. If you are either disabled or decide to teach at a low-income school, or dead, those are the only ways to get out of student loans.
Yeah. Well, what about we talked about before we got on the show, college forgiveness. What was something that someone could do to relieve them of their college debt?
Okay, well, I can get on that because I'm on the student loan forgiveness program too, but it is a hassle because the two organizations, the one I'm with, Nelnet and Navigant, they're both being sued because they were lying to the people who had loans that they're managing, saying they were keeping the information from what options they had to lower their loan payments. And the student loan forgiveness program is designed by your salary.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have a really low salary, which I do, it's supposed to be at a certain number, and you're supposed to pay that until either you get an increase in pay, or if it remains the same, that number never changes, and you're supposed to pay for about 20 years, and then after 20 years, whatever remains is forgiven.
Mm-hmm.
So, but these places that manage those accounts were not telling people that. And I had to get my senator and my congressman on it because I'm like, look, I don't even own a home.
Yeah.
You know, I'm still living at home. I make this much money, so you know I need help. They're charging me too much money,
Yeah.
and they lied to me. They said I paid like $1,500 for this one place that's supposed to help me, you know, lower it down. And every year it just kept going up and up and up. But they told me, oh no, as long as you keep this salary, this is how much you're paying.
Right.
Well, they kept raising it.
Where could someone go who is looking for forgiveness or looking to ease up on their? Where could they go? Is there like a website, or is there? Or is there like?
Well, they find you. They
okay.
find you because when you have a loan and you've been out of college for some time, and somehow these places get your information, which is kind of scary. But they're affiliated with the federal government, so I guess that's why. They'll send you letters. Sometimes they even give you phone calls, and they'll give you information, and they'll tell you, well, here's the deal. You know, we can help you with this. Of course, you're going to have to pay a fee because they're a separate private company that tries to fight for this, and they have a team of attorneys that will fight to get your rate low. But you'll still have to deal with those two organizations, Nelnet and Navigent or something like that. But you still have to deal with them. But they have to cooperate. But the one I'm with now, they're pretty promising. When I make a phone call, they're still answering their phones, unlike the other place and everything. And they will fight for you, but they'll find you. But if you want to find them, they have websites. Sometimes they do have commercials on television that will give you information and phone numbers and all.
Right.
With the one I'm with is Student Loan Care LLC. That's the one I'm with. So if you're in the same situation as me, you can give them a call. I don't have the number on me at the moment, but their organization's called Student Loan Care LLC. They may have a website.
Yeah. Well, it'd be good for everybody out there to just check it out if you're in extreme debt and you want to be relieved of it by a little bit. I would suggest doing that. Now to close up the show, we went through a lot of steps here. We went from being in high school, how it's pushed on you from junior year to say you have to go to college, and then you jump into graduating and you go through the summer counseling and going through the test, taking the SATs, and you go to college, and they basically tell you that you have to take these classes just to get the piece of paper. And then after that, you're kind of like thrown into the wild where you don't really have let's just say
the know-how of finding a job.
Yeah, the know-how to find a job. You don't have the credibility to get a job, really.
Right.
And so the companies out there aren't looking for someone who just has a piece of paper. They're looking for experience, someone who knows how to do this. And then at the end of it, you're stuck with all this debt. So I guess through all of this, Ronnie, in a quick yes or no, would you advise someone to go to college right now?
Right now, I would say no, in my opinion. And my reasons why is because it's a big investment, an investment that affects the rest of your life. So if you are thinking about going to college, think long and hard and make sure you have a real write-out plan or a mental plan on what you want to do and all. But my opinion, just go out and work. Just go out and work. And then when you feel the time is right, college doesn't have an age limit. I know people who were in college that were 65 years old. So don't worry.
If you need it later down the road, you can always get it. Right. Okay. Well, we want to thank everybody for tuning in to Millennial Nation. Our motto, Focus, Learn, Act. I hope that's what you got out of this show. And we hope to see you next time. Thanks for coming out. And thank you, Ronnie, for coming on the show.
Thank you guys for having me.